159.
Good morning, everybody. Every morning when we start, we sometimes walk into some pretty interesting conversations happening in the background. Every morning, sometimes someone's kid is crying, someone's yelling at somebody, someone's stuck on a phone call. All right, let's take a look over here. So we got Zoom coming up. We got YouTube stream is up and running. Beautiful. Everyone's popping in slowly, coming up. Hello, Raja from Somalia. Oh, hello there from Canada. Welcome, welcome. All right, let's take a look over. So overnight in the Asian session, this is the target I had around 152, 100, 152, 200. It got, Asian session really pulled through, came up, and before Asian Open, we tapped into that area. Now we're coming back down. So what we're going to do is we will do some basic breakdown over here. First of all, we're going to take a look at the Forex factory and see what's going on. Let's take a look over here. All right, so basically we got nothing happening right now. Pound had some really good news. 152, 200 seems to be a pretty strong, reasonable, resistance area. We got some CAD unemployment rate coming up here. They're looking at good numbers. Okay. I know for a fact that the economy is still closed down over here. They just opened like 2-3 days ago, so we'll see how that goes. Looking at it from, okay, let's take a look at pound. Oh wow, gold also came down towards 1700 here. This is the area we had tapped into. This came all the way down from the London session. We came all the way down here. Okay. Nice. So, pound yen going bearish here, breaking below this level. I think, yeah, this is the level I had from where if we break down 151,700, there's a high probability to continue down towards, 151,520. But as a good trader I am, discipline is key. So what I would want to see is I would want to see a candle close below 151,700 and then take a sell once we break the low of a candle closing right over here. Otherwise, we're going to let it go and let it be because, it's a Friday. On Friday, we got to be really careful here. Okay, let's do some fresh analysis on gold here. Let's remove everything, go towards the daily. Daily's obviously coming down over here. Looks like we're tapping into a support right at this point. 1700. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, if we extend it over here, right here, let's do this, right? So we got a support right down over here. Let's go towards the 1-hour time frame. We're tapping into, well, we're not tapping into, but we're creating a support here on the 1-hour time frame. But at the same time, before we drop down, we broke below this support here to the left hand side as well, 1710, which we broke below. Now looking at the 30-minute time frame, we're kind of like ranging over here. There's a range here, so there's a minor resistance at this point, and there's also support at this point. So basically we're waiting for price to kind of break above this area to possibly have some sort of a retracement of this move down that happened in the London session. What's this? At 151,700 we're entering a consolidation zone from before. Yeah, that's fine. We have clean candle over here. We got some minor support at this point, and then we got a major support down at 151,520. So all I was looking at is if we can close right over 151,680, get some sort of a minor resistance formed, then I think we have a high probability for price to kind of make an arc up and then continue moving down. So that's something I would want to look for on Friday today. Now also remember, it's a Friday. You shouldn't be in a rush to take a trade on a Friday. No, not at all. If you had losses this week, don't think on a Friday you're going to make all those losses back. It's not going to work that way. So we'll have to be very, very careful. All right, let's take a look over here. Took sells on gold. Ooh, 5-minute time frame. We broke below this area here. You took sells and secured 90%. Very nice. Do you know the W and M formation? No, I don't follow the W and the M formation. All right, let's see here. What else we do? This one other thing we do on Fridays is that if you're stuck in big trades where you're in drawdowns now and you don't know what's happening, On Fridays, we kind of like help you get out of those positions, you know, or we kind of like help you how to manage the trade there. So, like in a gulag, if you guys are stuck in some sort of a big trades, dumb trades you shouldn't have taken, speak up, man. We're gonna help you on that. So your JPY, we can see we're coming into a no trade range, and below this area 129.850, we got a big trade range over here. See, we got around 18, 20 pips over here, which is pretty big for your JPY based on the fact that there's like there has been less momentum on this for a good time. Can you explain what I did wrong about this trade? This is from Get T from the Gulag. Let's see over here. Let's take a look over here. Buy stop above these highs. Okay, makes sense. Buy stop. Close 50% at break of the 15-minute low right here. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I think if you had a buy stop, should have at least waited for the support to be formed, because 152 is a really, really, really strong resistance level, right? Let's take a look at this on the daily time frame. So we look at this area on the daily time frame, right? Remember 152 right here. So if we scroll to the left-hand side, and what you're going to find here on the left-hand side is good. There was a resistance right here. Now, if you drop this down on the 4-hour time frame, you're going to see that that was a much stronger resistance area right over here. See, this makes sense over here. 152, 100. On April 2018, price created a resistance on the 4-hour time frame. So after 2 years, no, 19, 20, 21. Oh shit! After 3 years, price came back up here again and has looked to the left hand side and saw, okay, well, we had a resistance here. We're probably going to reject this area once again. So buying above 151, 100, 152 and 152, 100 was extremely risky because we rejected this before 3 years ago. So, you know, some market remembered that and it kind of like rejected there as well. Can you explain what Kerman explained about 4-hour gold concept, because his English is a bit tough to understand? Can you explain with Daisy Touch which your English is better understand? I don't know what he talked about gold on the 4-hour. You'll have to ask him. I think what he was talking about was how the 4-hour candle, I mean, what he talked about was basically how the structure of the candles are. You know, I mean, if you have a 30-minute candle, let's say this is a 4-hour candle, right? And this 4-hour candle is about to close. So you know that the next 4-hour candle is going to make a lower wick, and on a smaller time frame, that's going to look like a market structure making a support, and then moving up to break the high to continue moving bullish, and that's going to be the overall 4-hour candle pushing bullish. We've explained that in the candle formations section of Unlearn and Relearn section. So you can probably take a look. I don't want to say go look at the videos, but you have to go look at the videos. He just talked about how a 4-hour candle is formed based on a smaller time frames, how they create market structure. All right, what's going on over here? I was thinking about this trade on Friday. Range was kind of small. What do you think? Let's take a look over here. GJ 30-minute chart took a sell at this point. I think it's pretty good. I think you can also maybe look at your range at this area right over here rather than where you have it drawn, because now you're looking left at the candles, right? You're looking at this candle, clean candle, so that's what you're looking at for targets. Okay, what's this? Hey, when we broke support or resistance, do we wait for reach the next support resistance exactly, or can we wait for price to reach the opposite? So basically at this point what's happening is, what I'm basically looking at is that if we're breaking below the support 151,700 and we're coming down, that's totally fine. Let price come down. What I want to see is maybe at this point I want to see some sort of a retracement, like a minor resistance formed, and then continuation down. Maybe that's something I want to see at this point, you know. And if I see that, I think I'm going to execute on that. But if I don't see it, then it is what it is. You know, I'm not gonna force a trade at this point. All right. What's this chart? We got a chart coming from Dropbox. I anticipated for this to happen, but wanted a wick first. No entry, no FOMO. Absolutely right. Great decision. Same thing over here. I wanted this to happen, but no entry, no FOMO. Also, it's a Friday, so we gotta stay safe. We gotta stay calm. Every Friday with weekly retrace a lot. Do you take that into consideration? Yes. So if you look at the weekly candle, we tapped into a strong resistance based on the left hand side. Look at this, right? Back in the April, right? April weekly candle went all the way up and it rejected this area. So now weekly candle did the same thing over here, came up and rejected it. So obviously whenever a candle is going to close, there's going to be a very high probability it's going to have like bigger wick at the top. So that wick on the top comes from the fact that we're getting these retracements on the smaller time frames. Patience on gold. Smash at 8 a.m. I guess for sells. Let's do this over here. Biden's address last night getting digested into the US market. Oh, okay. So looks like we should be breaking below 1700. Let's put this right here, 1687. How big is this range over here? It's like a 120 pip range, 100 pip range. 4-hour also looks good to flip below. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. If the 4-hour flips, we got clean moves here to the left hand side. Hey Raja, why you not enter on support? Because there was no confirmations to enter at support. There was no confirmation to enter at support. Entering sells right now is not going to be a good idea at all. So there was no entry over here. There was no confirmation. It's okay. All right. How often do you think a beginner should backtest and for how long? I think backtesting should be done on a live market. Like when you're looking at the live market, you're looking to see, okay, where you could have entered, where you could have taken a trade, where did you miss a trade, and then you're making notes on that. That okay, if a certain move made sense and you would have entered on that move, you're making notes on that. You're making notes around that because that's going to happen again. And then once it happens again, you're going to be more ready to execute on it. And at the same time, if you're looking at things that don't make sense and you're making notes on that as well, that okay, like this move didn't really make sense. I took a paper trade on it. It went against me. And you're making notes on that too, that okay, maybe I shouldn't have done things the way you did, and having a loss. So those kind of things really matter when you're doing back tests. Can we expect to test 150-200 level again in next week? Probably we could. But this daily candle is coming down really strong. Looking on a 4-hour here as well. So we'll need to see some sort of a supports formed around, 151-200 for price to continue back up. But that's now around 80 pips away. It's coming down to a 30-minute support at this point to 151-400. If you look at gold, there's a nice move coming up. Yes, I think so too. We made a low at 1680s, did a little retracement. So either this comes down or the start of the week on Monday continues down. I think, Ted, you can unmute yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you go to the daily, this is what I'm watching. So you have that clean move. Once we start to break, we're gonna fill this area right over here. The only thing that I'm watching out for is this piece right here, that tail. But I think what we'll find is, like you said, either today or next week, this area is going to be filled as we continue down.
So from the 4-hour perspective, it's going to look like mirroring this move down.
Yeah. So what I've noticed in the last few weeks is every time we've gone very bearish, you'll find that this candle coming up, the 7 a.m. candle, has retraced back very heavy, and then the 8 a.m. candle has just plummeted. And then it'll pull back a bit, and then around 10 a.m. again, it'll continue to pull down for the rest of the day. So I got caught a couple of times at 7 a.m. So I've been waiting now till 8 a.m. letting it. Yeah, because it was weird because you'd get in at 6:30 expecting the drop to continue, but it didn't. 7 a.m. would pull all the way back up, and you'd be in like a 10 or 20 pip drawdown for like 45 minutes, and then you'll find towards the last 15 minutes of the 7 a.m. candle, things start to move, and that 7:45 a.m. candle continues to push through at 8 a.m., and then you get that drop like till 8:30, 8:45.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty sick after NY Open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty sick drop over here.
Yeah, so if everything goes according to plan, it's going to be a huge drop down to 1680, 88, 1690. I'd just be watching like where you have right now on the 4 hour, things like that. I'd be looking at the consolidation to the left. Once we tap into that, maybe, securing profits at that point. So this area here, just be aware of this area here. So once this flips bearish, you'll have all this momentum out of this candle to continue going down. And we should fill this area here. But like I said, just watch out for this. That could give us some trouble. But if it doesn't, we're off to the races.
Perfect. What's happening with GJ? People getting excited. Oh, nice. It's falling over here. Pretty nice fall. 37 pips. What happened? There was no news. Yeah, there was nothing. GJ flash screen that buyers take full control. I don't think so. Buyers are taking full control. I don't know in what year this article came out, but it's coming down. What made GJ move down? Regular Friday price action. Nothing really. There's no news on it. It's just it comes down. So we got to accept it. It comes down. That's it. I'm risking $150. I'm feeling good about it. Okay, let's take a look over here. Let's take a look at this point. This is gold, 30-minute, possible retest 1718. I don't know, man. 1718 is pretty far away for short entry at 8 a.m. Yeah, I don't think price is going to retrace till 1718 till 8 a.m. and then go down. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, it could happen, but that's a very far-fetched idea. You're looking at around, what is this? Like 150 pip move up, and then you're looking at 150 pip move down. No, maybe if it was interest rates plus NFP at the same time, maybe you'd get that today, but it's not, so we're not really sure. Now, if pound,
you get 1705, 1706. I think that's the highest we'll go, to be honest.
Yeah, we're consolidating over here too.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so saying since pound yen is falling down, you shouldn't have any FOMO at all. Nothing. Because if it's down, it's okay, it's down. Because once it comes down like this, we know that now this is being a clean candle is being created here on the left hand side. The only thing that I'm going to look at is that if we do some sort of a retracement to create like a minor resistance, I know that okay, then there's a high probability for price to continue down to tap into this low, because all it's doing at this point is just making a new low at this point. So that's pretty sick. We're making a low, and if price retraces, we're going to create some sort of a minor resistance, and then we can continue moving down. Because take a look at this, right? We have a support right down over here, right? We got a support right down over here. We got another support here. And from this zone till this zone, we have clean candles to the left-hand side. And if we're creating a low, and if price retraces to create a resistance at this point, I think there's a high probability for price to not only continue down to retest this low, but like, by NY open to maybe also continue down towards this next support. But if this candle goes down to support, then it is what it is. It's a Friday, no trade, price moved. It's okay. Just wanted to share for the first time I won a trade with 40 pips on GJ. Oh, nice. Congratulations. Beautiful. If you can do it once, you can do it 10 times over. But the market conditions have to be favorable in that aspect. Like, usually we don't get falls like these where we have like retracements and moves down, retracements and move down, but this was extraordinary move. So whoever caught it, congratulations. Let's see here. Shouldn't you look for buys at 151, 150 if price rejects 151, 150? No, you shouldn't. I wouldn't look for buys at that point. I would basically look for a retracement for the resistance to be formed for price to continue down because trend is bearish at this point, right? Bias is bearish, trend is bearish, daily is bearish, 4 hours bearish, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, everything's bearish at this point. So I'd want to see a retracement create like a minor resistance and then a continuation down. That's what I would want to look at. All right, let's take a look at this chart over here. When someone sends a chart like, I don't know what I did wrong, that means that's basically a victimizing feeling right over there. That I was a victim to the market, I don't know what happened. So expected to buy as price started to move with clean cancel left stop loss below 30-minute candle. Yeah, the candle closed with no wick at the top over here. So, we've talked about candles closing with no wick. So I think maybe you need to go back to the candle sections because when a candle closes with no wick, there's a 50-50 chance it's going to go up. That's the only thing over here. When is the right time to take a counter trend trade? I think it depends from a chart to chart, that's a very open-ended subjective question. You need to send a chart and then ask that, okay, is this a counter trend trade? Counter trend, there's no such thing as a counter trend trade. Counter trend trade are just retracements. And if you ask me personally, I don't think taking counter trend trade is going to be a good idea because, trend is your friend. And if you go against your friend, you'll get clapped. So if you don't want to get clapped, you don't take a trade against the trend. Unless you have like a good reason to, right? Let's take a look at this GU trade over here. Took impulse through it here, grabbed 10 pips. Beautiful. Well done, well done. If this 30-minute candle in GJ closes around 151, 350, do you think a sell is a good idea? Probably not. I would want to see some sort of a resistance formed, because we had a really, really deep move down. So I want to see some sort of a resistance formed and then a continuation down. That's what I want to see. Plus, it's also Friday, right? So we got to be very, very careful on Friday here as well.
Hey, Raja. Brazil, I have a question, I feel.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
When you look these weeks on weekly or monthly, how to decide if you are the new targets or weak rejections? Did you do based in daily candle?
So you're saying if you look at the weekly and the daily wicks, how to get new targets?
No. Wait.
Maybe write it down. It's going to be much better.
Yes.
Hey, I'm new to the live stream. Would you suggest to start trading your trading ideas first to get started before making my own plan, or dive straight in and send you charts? I think if you're new to the live stream and if you haven't really gotten any Forex education, first thing is going to be go get educated first. Second of all, the second thing is going to be, I think it's going to be a good idea to make a trading plan. A trading plan is going to be like what basically pair you're going to focus on, what time of the day you're going to focus on, and then you have to focus on that one pair at that same time every day. And then slowly you're going to start to understand why it's moving. You have to learn about different market sessions, when there's volume in the market sessions, what session suits you best. So those things you have to take into consideration before moving along with trading, because just sending charts is not going to help you. It's going to help you a little bit, but like, really making a trading plan, it's going to help you more. When you look at these wicks on weekly or monthly, how to decide if they are new targets or rejections? Do you base it on daily time frame? Okay, let's take a look over here. So basically you can't, right? What we can do is we can anticipate it. So as the weekly candle was coming up before, we had a lot of rejection. We had first rejection right over here, right? Like about over a month ago. Second one we had right over here, right, where price broke through it. And then we had another one right over here, price broke through it. And then we had another one right over here, price broke through it. But the way price broke through these rejections, you saw that market structure forming on the daily time frames, right? Every time we came up to a rejection area, we had a bit of a consolidation here. And as we had consolidations, candles did not show like strong bearish candles to go down. They only showed strong bullish candles leaving wicks. So when you have strong bullish candles after consolidation leaving wicks, you know that, okay, then there's a high probability that price is going to continue up to fill these wicks. And then we moved up. We had more like, ranging action and moves up over here. We can see right here, price made a high, came down, created support, continued up to fill the high right over here. And same thing is happening right at this point too. Price made a high, it's coming down. Now we don't know whether it's going to create a support to move up, because if it creates a support, then we know there's a high probability for it to continue moving bullish. But if it starts breaking the daily support, then we can say that, okay, let's say hypothetically speaking that we create support somewhere right down over here on the daily time frame. And if we break the support, then we know there's a high probability it can continue down towards the next support. So, I mean, when you get to like higher time frame rejections or wicks, it's important to look at the 4-hour time frame, the daily time frame, to really see that, okay, where can we move on to next? Like right now, we're coming up to a support area at this point, so we got to keep that in mind. So we got support there. We got a 30-minute support that we broke, 151.400. And this is what we're looking at right now. This candle is about to close in about a minute and a half. A minute and a half.
Thank you very much. Very, very, very clear.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now I can understand.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, every time you see a higher time frame wicks, it's always a good idea to kind of look at the smaller time frames and see what kind of a market structure is developing on the smaller time frames. So I used dynamic risk today and it dramatically reduced my losses, but I think static risk is more profitable. What do you suggest? I mean, that's totally up to you. That's a very basic, I mean, that's a personal question. That's totally up to you what you want to do. I mean, dynamic risk, obviously you're going to have a risk which is going to be really low. Static risk, you can basically use like, risk management techniques and then basically lower your risk in that regard. But that's totally up to you what you want to use. All right, this is Euro AUD. Buy is about 1.5490. Okay, I think we'll have to see some sort of a 15-minute, maybe supports formed or some sort of a bullish confirmations for price to move up, which would make sense if they start moving bullish. But you got wicks over here, you got wicks over here, you got clean candles to the left hand side. Just got to make sure that these wicks don't reject price here, because if you get a candle closing above this area, then I think it's a very high probability we can continue moving bullish. Do you know if any Forex simulator software FX keeps declining my payment? No, I don't. Maybe someone in the Gulag knows of one, they can probably tell you, but I personally don't know of anyone else which is as good. Do you know the trader Larginus? No, I don't know Larginus. Do you think it would be a good entry after the low of the previous bullish 1-hour candle broke to downside of GJ? Right over here, probably not, because we had consolidation to the left hand side, we had consolidation over here to the left hand side. So like when you have consolidation to the left hand side, the only way that consolidation is broken is with one swift candle coming down. That's how it's broken. So that's what happened here. So since we made a low at this point on the 30-minute time frame, 1-hour time frame, I'm really expecting price to some sort of create like a consolidation or like a resistance for price to continue moving down, because now we're in this range, and this is like almost like a 25, yeah, 23, 24 pip range. Pretty good. So we'll be waiting to see what happens here. Going to be keeping a close eye on gold over here too, below 1700.
Yeah, it looks like it's in a range between 1701 and 1704. So I think if we get a clean break below 1701, we're off to the races. I just don't trust this new hour candle, because the last few times it's pulled all the way back and then created a bigger wick to go down. But we'll see. We might miss it.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, because if you look at the 30-minute candles are consolidating between 1704 and 1701. So I don't trust this 30-minute candle yet to drive us. I rather see a wick in this range. So I guess the best opportunity will be a wick to the upside where we push down around 1703. If we get another wick within the next couple of 30-minute candles, rejecting from the upside to go down, I think that'll be a good signal for us to take a closer look. But I think anything below 1701, once we have rejections from this range that we're in, will drive us down into the 1690s at that point. So ideally what you're looking for in this range, what I've done is I've boxed out this area here. And what I want to see is hopefully we'll get something that'll pop up into here and then start to drive us down. Or even over here and then drive us down. That's what I'm looking for. I need this top wick to show up, similar to what we had over here. I need something but bearish. I don't want it bullish. This bullish wick rejection is just giving us a zone that we'll tap into. So you'll see that this candle will probably tap in. There'll be some traffic over here, and then we'll tap back out, or we'll come up over here and then continue to drive. So that's what I'm waiting for right now.
Yeah, let's see. Could you please take a look at this gold shorts? Entered right over here. Yeah, it's a big problem because we had a rejection here. So I think just like what Tech talked about, you needed a candle to close below this area. So there was a rejection here. You entered at the same place, and what happened? Price rejected the same area it rejected before. So you needed a candle close. So I think that wasn't a pretty good trade over there at all, because we had rejection there. Gold and US30 has similar fundamental. Why don't you trade US30? The reason why I don't trade US30 because the volume in US30 comes after my trading time ends. So that's the reason I don't trade US30. Michael Montano sells with break of 129.850. 129.850. Same area I'm looking at here, buddy. Same idea here. Break below this area, clean traffic to the left hand side, and makes perfect sense over here as well. So we're going to see where we get on to. And pound yen is also retracing over here, which is pretty good. Because the more we retrace, the higher the probability it's going to create like a resistance and then continue down to retest this low at 151, 300, 151, 250. So it's going to be pretty good. Like a retracement and drop on pound yen would be amazing. And break 1701 on gold to continue down would also be pretty amazing. Hey, Sir Ted and Coach, this is an idea from an amazing guy, Josh, and I see it as well. What do you guys think, please? Let's take a look here. Gold 4-hour chart. Retest to go further up. Decent break of trend line. Okay, so looking for buys on gold. That makes sense too. I mean, looking at the 30-minute only, I think buys are only going to work if you can get a break above 1703, 1704. And I think that's just going to be a retracement moving to at least 1709. You can look at 1710. Because right now we're just consolidating over here. There's a high probability we can break down because the bias is bearish, and there's a lower probability we can break up. So, like, you know, both things can happen at the same time, so we have to wait. I used to get FOMO seeing huge bearish candle moves, and now I changed my psychology to get excited for a retracement or continuation. I'm much more patient. Oh, nice. Beautiful. Yeah, I missed that trade too. How many pips above the candle do you place your stop on gold? Oh, have to be above the range.
Yeah, I mean, I think people have to understand, like, if you're taking a sell with gold as an example, you're placing your stop above here with this candle, because what you're saying is you're hoping that that's the top of the range. People are confused with that, and you have to then make sure your math makes sense. So if you place your stop above this range, you need to make sure that when you enter, say over here as an example, your risk to your reward here makes sense, right? So you would say, okay, this is whatever, like 15 pip stop, or right, and then you enter. You need to make sure at least you're getting more than that when you're taking the trade. That's why it's so hard when people are actually trading themselves. They don't look at the overall range, and they try and take positions where the risk doesn't make sense. Yeah, the price could be going down, but if you can't find an entry where you could place your stop loss correctly, you can't take that trade. And I think people have to get used to that the market will move without you. And just because you see that the market is going down doesn't mean that it's a good time for you to enter. You have to figure out where your entry is going to be based on a comfortable risk to reward as well.
Okay, what's happening over here? Hey, please give me a review on this first time trade on gold. Believe hustling from the gulag. Let's take a look over here. Sells. My question is, because the 30-minute 1 hour candles are all bearish, price moved already 50-60 pips, is this a good call out on 5-minute time frame? Yeah, I think it's good, because price came down, kind of like consolidated, and then continued breaking down. You had your stop loss above this area, first chance over here, close right over here, and then you give your trade a second chance. Looks good. Plus we had a clean range to come down to our 1702 as well. Oh wow, look at that retracement. Some wild retracement happening on GJ at this point, which is pretty nice. Could GJ correct this bearish move? Yes, anything can happen. But what I'm looking for is, I'm looking for a retracement, create some sort of a resistance, and then continue down. That's the move I'm looking for in GJ. If I get that move, awesome. If not, then it's all good. May want to look for sells on gold here as well. Canadian drone delivery CEO resigned and gave someone else the executive position. Do you think such thing affects the stock? I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue how stocks work. I bought that stock because I believe in it, and that's it. If it goes to zero, so be it. If it goes up, then perfect. Why is there more volume in the Asian session than London or New York? This is a comment made by Mo World on YouTube. I don't think you exactly have spent enough time in the Asian session. The more time you spend in the Asian session, you're going to realize that that's really for old people who have heart problems, who don't want to see price move so fast. Asian session is dead most of the time. I don't think which Asian session you looked at for the first time and you came up with that conclusion, but that's not true. It does affect the stock, yes. Yes, it does, but I'm not sure if it's going to affect it negatively or positively. Okay, thanks for all you guys do. The knowledge you impart got me 30 pip trade on GJ. Oh, nice. You just paid for my lunch. Nice, Richard. Who's going to pay for my lunch over here? Come on. How do you manage your risk on gold, especially when you enter on 5-minute and the moves are fast? When we break below 1701 or when the 5-minute candle breaks, I usually put my stops above the previous 5-minute candle. That's it. If a stop gets hit, it gets hit. If it goes down, which is high probability with volume, it does go down, then it goes down, we win. So that's how I manage it. So we'll have to wait to see We'll have to wait to see what happens closer to 8 a.m. All right, let's take a look at this chart over here. This is, can GJ mirror this move? No, because it's not in the same aspect. This is way different than this right over here. This happened last year when there was the virus, when things were shutting down. No, actually, this is March. No, sorry. Yeah, this is something different. This is something different. We're in two different market dynamics at this point. So I would basically suggest not to look at that and anticipate what can happen here. Just focus on this over here and see what can we do over here for price to continue moving down. Just take a look at this chart over here. Candle close below support. Entry on next candle. Also, this candle retest broken support. Double confluence for sell. Target hit. Clean trade left hand side. Very nice. Beautiful. We're coming up over here. We just need to reject, break below, and go down. Downtown. And then we need Curvin here on the side whispering. His whispers make price even move faster. So it's going to be a good one. So gold is unlike GJ. You risk losing 100% of what you have in mind. For the most part, yes. Yes. So that's why I use a lower lot size on gold for the most times. You know, pound yen, I might use like 10, 15 lots on gold. I use like 5 lots. 5, sometimes 7, but mostly 5, you know, because the retracements are pretty big as well. Please help me in coming out of fear of losing trades. I think the fear you get when you're losing trades, or you fear that you're going to lose a trade, comes from the fact that you've taken a lot of losses in the past, you know, and there's a very high probability once you've taken losses, you haven't really like, you know, managed those losses. So whenever you take a loss, you have to learn from that loss. You have to look to see, okay, what could you have done differently when you took that loss? Most people, what they do is when they take a losing trade, they just say, oh man, I took a losing trade today. I'm a loser. I don't know what happened. And if you go with that mentality, you're always going to be a loser because you tell yourself you're a loser. You know, you can't do that. When you take a losing trade, you have to look at that losing trade and you have to see, what could you have done differently? Was there something you missed? Was there something you ignored? You know, if this happens again, what are you going to do with that, right? Are you still going to make the same mistake, or are you going to learn from the mistake today and move on to the next day and to not make that same mistake? So those things will really help you. So like, you know, start learning from your losses. Don't just take a loss I just took a loss. It makes no sense. When I take a loss, I never say, oh, I just took a loss, I don't know what to do. No, I try to learn from that loss. Does the black on black market fluidity cap come with the adjustable strap on the back? Do I have one over here? No. Yeah, it does. It comes with a adjustable strap on the back. I have a question regarding the 4-hour candle. I'm in the UK and the new 4-hour candle just started 13 minutes ago. Do the 4-hour candles start at different time for you guys? Yes. You know, when you have different liquidity providers run on different time zones. And that's why you'll see the 4-hour candles sometimes they start at different times. But other than that, 1-hour candles, 30-minute candles, they're all the same. Okay, what's this? How can you overcome psychology that when I'm in profit, I always think I've been lucky enough? If I don't take it now, I will go in a loss again. I struggle a lot with this. That comes from, I'm going to say it again, you're not going over your trades. Like, a lot of your questions are going to be answered if you just go over your trades. That's it. You don't look over your trades. You don't look over the sessions you trade. You're always going to be confused. There was a movie called Dazed and Confused. You know, that's what you're going to be, dazed and confused. All right, so the 15-minute candle has closed bullish with a rejection wick. Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait over here. Man is doing Zoom attendance analysis. That's hilarious. For gold, even though price rejected 1701, are you entering because of the increase in volume? I'm not entering anything. Where are you guys getting these ideas? I'm not entering anything right now. The only thing I see right now is that we're breaking above 1703, this 30-minute candle, and if it stays above this area, there's a probability it can continue up to 1710.
Yeah, I mean, I think people have to realize, think logically, right? So we're approaching the North American Open, which is the USA Currency Open. There was a lot of good news that was pushed out last night in Biden's address. So the London and Asian session absorbed that information and drove gold prices down. So you have to think now, as an institution on the USA side that hasn't had an opportunity to trade this information, what's going to happen? There's going to be a massive pullback for gold. Just like what we said, we were saying, you know, above we were saying between 1703 and 1705. It's above 1705 now. This pullback is to set up then for the North American session to absorb that information, right? So Biden said last night that he's hoping to open the country by July 4th. All the vaccinations are going through, the road to recovery, things of that nature. So there's a lot of positive information there. So you have to think like an institution. They're not going to take entries at 1700. And they're not going to start taking entries now before the volume kicks in at 8 a.m., which is the North American Currency Open. So just because this 1 hour candle is going bullish doesn't necessarily mean that that now has changed the bias for gold. You're going to need a lot more information for that. And now what that allows us to do is it allows us to get a better entry, because if the next hour candle starts to go bearish or creates a top where we have a rejection from the upside to go down, now we have a better opportunity to still look at 1703, 1702 as an entry point where you have more confirmation of the drive starting to go down and continue this move. So I think people just have to be a little patient and understand exactly what's happening in the markets, and you'll be able to attack this a little bit better, because I think it's giving us an even better entry than I thought. I mean, we might even tap back up to 1710 like Rakeel was saying. That's better for us. And once we see the rejection and we start moving, you just go through your smaller time frames, and as soon as your hour candle, your 30-minute candle starts to flip bearish, you know that the rest of the candles now are going to follow suit with that.
Yeah, this could very well be a little bit of a fake out. Could you tell me how could I have managed this trade better? Let's take a look over here. Trade Management Services, brought to you by Raja Banks and team. It's a pretty nice name, Trade Management Services. So it took a buy entry point right over here. Price reached 1 pip away from 10 pips. Okay, close everything at 2 pips. Could I have managed this trade better? No, I think it was pretty good. You managed your trade. You took a lower loss than you wanted to, even though you closed at 2 pips. That's pretty good. Are you looking for sells? I'm looking for sells on pound yen after a little bit of a retracement to continue down, and possible sells below 1701. I like sells below 1701 better than buys because we have clean candles to the left hand side. For buys, it gets pretty wonky over here, for the lack of better term. I mean, look at this. We have a lot of rejections here, so it gets a little tricky here trying to buy gold. So selling below 1701 is going to be something I'm going to be looking for here today. I mean, if Iron Man takes buys, I think it's going to be pretty good. Then we can start selling below 1701. That may spark a little Friday afternoon fun now. For the whole day. Yesterday, dude went for the whole day, man. He went on a rat, because we said the same thing. Yesterday I said, well, gold is going to drop, so I guess he's buying, or I think we should sell at this point. And gold really dropped. It's not like it didn't drop. It dropped. And that was like a 4-second comment I made. This guy went on for 4 hours. Crazy. But, you know, it is what it is. You got to manage your emotions in life and in trading. Can you explain the break and retest concept on gold if it's possible? It's going to be okay. So break and retest. What I would want to see here is that. So if we're looking at the 30-minute time frame, I would want to see a candle closing maybe like this. This is what I would want to see. A candle close below this area, below the support, and then confidently I can say that okay, you know what? Now there's a high probability for the next candles to continue down. So if that happens in the next 45 minutes, in an hour, we're going to be in the NY Open session, and that's when there's a lot of volume in the market, and I think that's when we can get that move down. So, and then if you look on the smaller time frames, like the 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame, that's going to be where price basically comes down, starts to move up, like, breaks support, starts to move up, retests, and then starts to continue down. That's what it's going to look like on the smaller time frames. Yesterday, daily candle for gold rejected 1740, closed bearish. What should our confirmation take? A long time trade, bigger moves, 100 pips? Should we rely on Asian time? I don't know. Like, I mean, if you're looking at big moves, 100 pip moves, you got to understand they don't happen every day. They don't happen every day. It's not like every day you can come on and say, I'm going to catch 100. All right, I'm just going to mute Kylan over here. Right? So if you look at this range below 1701, and if you measure this range, this is a 130 pip range over here. So if we do break below 1701, then you can, yes, get your 100 pip move down over there. But if you're looking for buys, I don't think buys you can get 100 pips because, you got a range around like 50 pips away, right over here, like 60 pips away, and you got some problems over here. So it depends from... Show us like what you're basically looking at, like what kind of move you're looking at, and if that makes sense or not. Right, if you look on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that if we do break below 1700, we have a clean candle to the left hand side, and there's a very high possibility we can get that 100 pip move moving down. So it depends from chart to chart. Gold 30-minute chart. 4 hours creating support after large bearish move. 30-minute close above 1705. Looks good. Would be ideal to take buys against the bearish flow. Yeah, it'll be advisable. Also, you got sells below 1698, which also looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't like the buys because of all these issues here to the left-hand side. Yeah, I like sells better below 1700, 1701. Raja, you should shave your beard at 100k subs. No, I don't think I should do anything at 100k subs. Let's take a look over here. This is a New Zealand USD. Sell if breaking this area, buy if rejects this area with confirmation candle. Looks really tricky over here for buys, to be honest. First, let's zoom in over here first, right? Let's take a look at this area over here. So right now we're creating a support at this point, and then you got the next support over here. I don't think it's very clean at all because first you got this support, next you got this support a few pips away, and you got another support a few pips away. So like a lot of roadblocks there for price to move down. And at the same time, if you move up, the only thing I can see is that maybe above this area, you have this clean candle for buys. That's what I see. For sells, you got support, 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 support. So you got a lot of zones in the middle, which may cause some sort of issues. So may not be a pretty good trading day here today for NZD USD unless we break above, like, this area here I marked on earlier. Hello, I trade USD CAD in about 1 hour and 10 minutes. There will be some very important news. I studied the numbers. CAD should drop. You think price action? All right, let's take a look at USD CAD over here. So since there's going to be news on USD CAD, let's break this down over here on the daily time frame. So looking at the daily, we're moving bearish, obviously, right? And if the CAD news is good, I think we can continue moving bearish to this support 1.25046. Let's break this down onto the 4-hour time frame now. Looking down at the 4-hour, we have a support going all the way down to this point over here, first of all. Secondly, we have another support being formed at this level, 1.25260. Oh, what the hell is this? Pitchfork. We don't need no pitchfork. Right over here, we're creating a support. Looking on the 1-hour time frame, we're already at another support right over here, right? So this is in a range at this point now, right? You got resistance up at this point, 1.25680, and then you got support down over here. It's like a 26 pip range before a very high volume news. So this is where we're stuck. But if you do break below the support at 1.25250, then we know there's a high probability for price to continue moving down, because now you have a cleaner range below the support. You got 30 pip range, 35 pip range, so you can focus on that. But again, if we break above this resistance, then we have all this clean range to the left hand side for price to move up. So we got high impact news over here for CAD. So I think it's going to be much better to wait for that news to pass on, because you're looking at really good employment numbers for February, which I don't think is going to happen because, you know, the country was still locked down. But we'll see what happens, basically. It's really tough to see where news is going to move price. Hey, Raja, who is hunting stop losses? Because I think someone controlling the directions of price. Any explanation? No one hunts stop losses. I mean, if you think your stops are being hunted, I think you need to do some better analysis, or maybe, like, you know, try to learn from those losses that you're taking. But no one hunts stop losses. That's a valid excuse for someone who's losing trades all the time. My stops are getting hunted. How come my stops don't get hunted? Come on, man.
You know, Raj, I always wonder why people say that, because if the trade goes their way right away, they go and parade it around about how great of a win it was.
Yeah, I think it's most of a folklore too. Folklore, like these old mythical stories now. Because when I first started, I used to think like that too. Oh, stop hunts. Oh, brokers can do this. They can do that. Man, they can't do jack shit. I mean,
there's two sides of it, you know, like what if you bought this morning and I sold, you know, if it went up, you'll be happy and I'll be over here crying saying, oh, I got stop hunted, you know?
Yeah.
It's funny though.
Yeah, exactly. Like if someone takes buys on gold and we break below 1700 and we start moving down, and if someone who's looking for a break of 1700 takes sells, the one who's in buyers, they're probably going to say, oh man, this is a stop hunt. You're absolutely right. But someone who's selling, they'll say, oh, perfect. We have clean candles. Let it drop.
Exactly.
I think too, the issue is all the internet message boards and internet forums. Like if you look on some of those FX message boards, there's guys that have like 6,000 posts, 5,000 posts, and they're the ones that talk about all these theories and all these concepts that really, if you have 6,000 posts on a message board, have you been really trading, or are you just conversing every day about FX? And I think that's really what's driven the internet lore into that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, there's too many orders. The market's decentralized. There's too many things going on for you to turn around and say, okay, well, my trade exactly has been hunted. It doesn't make any sense. There's no relevancy to that.
Probably try to get Doug Ford as a guest here one day. I want to take a sell after breaking the low of 15-minute candle in GJ. Well, the candle closed with a weak bearish candle, and taking a sell, let's take a look at this idea over here. Below this area, right, 151, let's do 151.370 for good measure. You got like a 7 pip range down to the support, so I don't think that's going to be a good idea on a Friday. You know, maybe a break of this support would be a better idea, but then again, you're looking at like a 13, 15 pip range here to go down. I think that's going to be a much better idea rather than selling the low over here. because your range is really like 6-7 pips at this point. Oh, look at that rejection on gold. 15-minute also rejected that area. See, now after this rejection, if this 30-minute candle comes back below 1703, I think we were right about this fake out before the 8 a.m.
Yeah, it's a standard 7 a.m. candle. People taking buys just got ruined again.
So the challenge is that we need to ask people for 1 USD or euro or whatever, and we get 100 and oh, I don't know what that's going on over there. Why is price always coming back to entry every freaking time? Sometimes I feel like I'm getting watched, but I always secure profits. That's good if you're securing profits, you know, that's actually really good. But then again, you have to take a look at, you know, what could you have done things differently? I mean, you know, we say this every day. We always got to learn from those losses from the session. The one thing I really changed, that one thing I did in my like, you know, my day-to-day activities when it comes to trading, that really changed everything, was to go over the entire session. That changed everything for me. So whenever I'm done trading, I go over the entire session and see what happened, how could I have done things differently, how could I have improved on things, how could I have really capitalized on moves I took. You know, so that really changed everything. And most people don't do that, and they stay in the same stage and they struggle and this and that. So it becomes a very delicate situation. Let's take a look at this 5-minute chart. Buy above this line. Let's take a look here. Buy above that line. What's that line over there? Ooh, buy above this area, 151,500. Let's take a look on the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, I mean, what if I would wanted to see a buy, I would maybe want price to kind of like close above 151,500. If I can get something to close above 151,500, that means we're closing above this previous support, which now may turn into resistance for price to go down. But if we close above this area, then we have a high probability for price to continue up. So I think it's better to look at the 30-minute and 5-minute confirmations here rather than looking at the 5-minute. You know, even though 5-minute could work, but it's better for discipline to wait for like the 30-minute or 15-minute. Plus, it's also a Friday, right? So we got to be more cautious. Ooh, gold. This is the second time an Asian candle gives us a buying confirmation. This 4-hour candle Asian session. This is the third time I noticed. Also drives to stop loss. It's not that big when you check terms of bigger trades. Yeah. We'll see what happens here. So it's good. It's good that you're following gold and you're making these observations. It's pretty good. All right, so we got around 25 minutes left for this 1 hour candle to close. 15-minute candle is also kind of like consolidating over here. Would like to see it to come down towards 151, 150. Would be a pretty good move. Also would like to see gold break below 1701 for it to continue bearish today.
Hilarious. So we're here at the airport. Oh, they know who I am. Congratulations.
Chris guy. This guy's got an interesting life now. Okay. Please give your point of view with my setup. Let's take a look here. USDJPY. Looking for some support form and see some rejection and buying confirmation to enter buy. Yeah, looks good. We made a high over here. We're coming down. If we create support, I think there's a very high probability for price to continue moving up. It looks pretty good. Let's take a look over here. I can spot a buy scenario in GJ, but I'm unable to spot the sells based on the 1 hour time frame. Can you help me? I think what we're missing over here is this. I don't know why we're ignoring this area over here, but this shouldn't be ignored, this area right over here, because this was a support which got broken with this candle over there, and then we got another support down over here. So I think you got to refresh everything and then kind of like draw zones before this big candle came down. And then you're right, we got a problem area here to the left hand side.
Hey, Raja.
Hey, Ryan.
How you doing today, man?
Good, man.
Good to see you. Awesome. So long story short, I was checking it out on pre-NY gold last night. Took some sales right around 17.18. I still have some positions open. I know that we're kind of looking for something to come towards the downside here. I got some of my stops at 17.15, some at 17.10. Where do you think I should put those if we're seeing or anticipating a retest right around 17.09, 17.10 and pushing it down? Should I just keep it a little bit above that, or really kind of open up the stop to let this thing swing?
See, here's the thing. If you got your stops at around 17.10, right, and if you're still looking for a bearish move, you're basically anticipating the NY volume to continue driving price down, right? And if you're anticipating the NY volume to drive price down, then you're basically anticipating that maybe this move up is sort of like a fake out of this consolidation area to continue back inside and then drop down at 1700. So now it's totally up to you whether you want to put your stops at a safer distance at 1711, 1710, so that maybe price comes up to do a retest and then goes down, or you can have your stops above, let's say, 1706.50, anticipating that, okay, we've made a high over here for price to continue driving down because you're in sells.
Yeah. Okay. I'll probably do a little bit of both. Close down partials if it dips above that, and then close everything above 1711. Then thank you.
Yeah, because the most thing you want to do is like, even if you get stopped out, the most thing you want to do is to secure as much as you can before getting stopped out.
Yeah. You're definitely right about that.
Yeah, that should be the plan. But pretty good entries, man. 1718. That's pretty sick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll here. Let me post what I was kind of looking at here in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, let's take a look. All right. 5-minute chart. Solid retest. Entered position. Oh, nice. Solid retest of this consolidation area, I see.
Yeah. I saw it happen, or I missed that first breakout right after the Asian Open when it pushed back to the downside. And then I saw it starting to kind of respect support as a resistance right there where that gray box is.
Yeah.
And once it started breaking to the downside on that 5-minute, I put a position in and then retested it. I put a second trade on there and started flying.
Nice. Yeah, that was a pretty nice move over there, and it moved all the way through London session.
Yeah, got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, well, the volume was on your side, so it's awesome. Just gotta savor it. It's a Friday. You got some massive pips in the bag. Best position to be in at this point.
Thank you. Appreciate the guidance there, man.
Yeah, man, no problem. Always. Hey, good morning. Would you take a look on this trade I caught? Thank you. This is sent by Mr. Quento. Mr. Quento from the Gulag. Let's take a look over here. Oh, nice. Pound yen 30-minute chart. Took sells. Closed full. Very nice trade. Like a lot of people missed this trade. I also missed this move down too on pound yen. So I guess I'm looking at the next volume push to drive price down. So we'll see how that happens. Hey, do you think the stuff with the royal family being exposed can affect the pound? Honestly, don't know, don't care. I mean, what has Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to do with pound yen? What value do they provide to the economy? Just think about that. They provide no value to the economy. The Queen, they don't provide any value to the to the pound economy. Nothing. And it's the other way around. Like whenever they want to do stuff, they have to ask the state. They have to take permission from the state. Hey, can we do this? Can we go here? Can we go there? Like you watch the what's that show called on Netflix? Royal? No, that
The Crown.
The Crown, yeah, The Crown. So they talk about that in that show, like the whole thing. That whenever they want to go somewhere, they need to get permission from the state because the state has to agree to that. That okay, if they do certain things, will that affect the economy? Will that affect certain fundamentals or not? And if it doesn't, they're like, okay, Queen, good to go. But if it does, then they're like, no.
They had to do a lot of paperwork when they went to Canada.
Yeah, they do a lot of paperwork when they went to Canada.
Professional, useless people.
Yeah. Can anyone give me details about the 25 April intake? Yeah, you can go to the link is there, so you can check that out over there. There's no details, like it's not a party. Royal family provides value for the economy by tourism. Oh yeah, okay, tourism, but not like they say something is gonna happen. I notice my spreads triple each time I'm in gold. Losses? Is my broker doing something, please? I notice my spreads triple each time I'm in gold. Losses. Oh, yeah, that's something should not happen. Your spreads should remain the same. I mean, the fluctuation in spread maybe by like 2 points, 3 points is acceptable, you know, but if it's changing by like 3 times, then there's a problem over there. I think some people in the gulag are taking that comment too hard. The royal family actually adds to the US economy. I didn't mean it that way. I meant it like from a monetary reform perspective. You know, so it's a big difference. What do you think about the 2 pips spread on GJ? Thinking about maybe looking for another broker. I think less than 2 pips is acceptable. For me, I think less than 2 pips is very acceptable to trade. Yeah, it looks like we're just ranging over here. USD CAD is waiting for news in about 45 minutes. Gold is stuck at this point, kind of like ranging. Pound yen is also ranging after that move down. So we'll have to see what happens. But are spreads on the same broker different from country to country? No, shouldn't be the case at all. Because I mean, if you open an account on, let's say, on some broker in the US, and then you can go to Thailand and trade on the same account, the spread should be the same. How to make this emoji? Oh, I don't know. Did you take any trades today? Nope. 0 trades today. I didn't take any trades today. It's a Friday. Friday normally, like, you know, we chill, we relax, we sit back, kick back. If something shows up. The only thing I'm looking for are, let me put this right over here. Looking at potential sells below 1700. This is what I'm looking at here today. Potential sells below 1700. What are your thoughts about adding position when your position is on profit? That depends on market structure, depends on how price is moving, depends on if there's volume in the chart, depends on if we're making like in a good structure to be able to add another position. Because when we think about adding another position, it's not only about adding a position, it's about taking another trade. That's what it is, right? Because if you're already in a trade and you're looking to add a position, that means now you're looking to add another trade. That's what it basically is. So you need things to kind of like line up properly. I mean, some people make the mistakes of like, if they're in buy, or let's say they're in sells and price moves down, they make the mistake of taking sell at the bottom and they say, oh, we're adding a position. No, you're not adding a position, you're selling the bottom. So if you really want to sell, you're waiting for retracement, resistance formed, breakdown, and then take a sell in that aspect. Google isn't experienced like the traders on this panel. Yes, after blowing one account and 60% of a second account and still in a losing streak, I might be the Gulag essence itself. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. You really got to manage risk, man. Can you please advise a free trading journal used? Yes, a free trading journal is going to be take a screenshot of your chart before your analysis and take a screenshot of your chart after the analysis and write something down on the chart and then post it. Kind of like how I post on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram over here, oh, Wicks Don't Lie is dead over here. Actually, someone else took this name, Wicks Don't Lie. Love you, Raja. Hello, live stream. Someone took this name.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. How to be a part of the Gulag? Well, that's the problem then. Man, I got a lot of names over there. Yeah, so this is my journal over here. This is what I do to do like journals over here. All my trades, all my posts I post like this here. I break down everything for myself and then I basically post it. So a lot of information over here. All right, we got 12 minutes left here for this candle to close, and then we're going to move into NY Open. We're going to see if we're going to continue moving bullish, or are we going to break below 1700 to continue bearish? Is Tandoori Flame in Mississauga worth the money? Yes. Tandoori Flame is pretty good. It's a big, giant buffet place. What would you want to see for buys on gold? I'm not looking for buys on gold at all. If the buys happen, then the buys happen. I'm not even registering executing buys on gold. I'm only registering to execute sells on gold. So, if buys, it's totally up to you. The only problem I see here is this consolidation here to the left hand side. Like all this consolidation here, so I don't really see buys on gold. If I would want to take a trade on gold, it's going to be a sell, because sell is going to be much easier to take rather than buys. So it depends on what you're really seeing at this point. Let's take a look over here. Do you think buys are valid at your JPY right now? Let's take a look over here. Let's remove all analysis. Let's see here. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, we're rejecting an area over there. Looking at the 1-hour time frame, we're coming up to a possibly a support that we broke right over here at the London session. Let's take a look on the 30-minute time frame. I think buys are going to be better above 130, because then you're going to have clean candles here to the left hand side. But at the same time, I also think that maybe we made a low at this point in your JPY, and we may be doing a retest to retest this broken support to continue moving down. But if we move back up, then obviously we can move bullish. My GJ buy trade today went wrong. I saw something and now I used it for USD and paid me back. Perfect. Oh, nice. Beautiful. All right, this is GU 30-minute chart. Sell if resistance forms. Perfect. Perfect. That's something I'm looking for here as well on GJ. Where would a good stop loss be if gold breaks below 1700? We'll have to take a look at when gold breaks below 1700 to see where the stop loss can be. At this point, it's very difficult because we're moving bullish at this point over here.
Hey, Raja, I got a question for you.
Hey, Chris.
How important is it for you to wait for the second half of the 30-minute candle to enter? Is that like extremely important, or just depends on how the candles are moving if you make that decision?
It depends on how the candles are moving, really.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on when the candles are moving. Like mostly I'm going to look at those half candle things if a previous candle closes with no wick, you know, and then I'm going to look at that. So let's say you had a bearish candle with a top wick and it closed with no wick at the bottom, then I'm going to look at the second. So I would want the next candle to make a top wick first and then start breaking the low, so then I can enter the trade for it to go down in the second half. So that's something I would want to see when, you know, the first half and the second half idea is there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. How do you feel about selling from 1710 once rejection is formed on 15 to 30 minutes to go to 1703? I don't feel about anything. All I want to feel is a sell below 1700. That's it. That's all what I want to feel today. If that doesn't happen, then I'm not feeling anything. So when you're trading, you have to be extremely specific on what you want to see. Most people, what they do is they'll know they want to sell below 1700, and once they see price moving up, they'll try to take some buys, you know, and you know, if you lose a trade, then you're going to feel dumb about it. You're like, oh man, you know, I don't know why I took these buys. I was looking for sells. Should have just waited for sells. So you have to be very specific on what you want to see and then really follow through. So, you know, even if price starts to move up, that's it. That's all okay. We got the whole next week and we got the whole next month left and this whole year left. Feelings are and emotions are no bueno in trading. Yes, especially on Friday. On Friday, you get emotions involved and feelings involved. Man, your whole weekend is going to get destroyed. Can't do that. What do you think about cashback on Forex trades? I think it's a pretty good idea. I have some friends, and I also used to use this cashback thing from my FX book, and it was actually pretty good. They do pay you back. You don't smoke at Fridays anymore? No, I stopped smoking, period. I only try to indulge on those extracurricular activities at nighttime, not during the daytime.
Not easy to stop smoking, eh?
Yeah, that's it. Because I mean, you got to be super attentive. Like, you know, when you like when you're in the game to make money, or when you're in the game to outperform the market or someone else, you have to be very, very attentive. That's what I basically learned, and that's basically a very logical thing to do. Does the ganja not help you focus? Well, if the ganja helped you focus, you wouldn't be here on the stream trying to learn. You know?
Ganja is just for chilling, not for...
Yeah. Ganja is for chilling, that's it.
I feel offended.
Burn is different. Burn is not from the same world like everyone else. Raja, where can I get free education good enough to trade my own way into mentorship? I think YouTube Gulag is the best place to be. We have a lot of members who paid for the mentorship from the profits they made in the live streams. We had a bunch of those people like this.
Yeah, one of them.
Oh yeah, nice. So it's like a cheat code. How can I tell if a candle is rejecting or grabbing liquidity? So let's say, for example, right, rejection versus grabbing liquidity. So let's say we have this 1 hour candle. No, actually, this is a very bad example. Let me look for a better example over here. Okay, so let's say we have this 15-minute candle right over here, right? And this, what the fuck? And this candle, let's say you take a buy over here, and if this candle wicks below the low of the previous 15-minute candle, then it's rejecting, right? But if it doesn't break the low, then it's kind of like retracing to go back up. So in a trending environment, trending candle environment, you want the candles to respect the highs and the lows, you know, the high highs and the lower lows to be able to continue moving. But if they break them, then they're basically rejecting. Or if this 15-minute candle closes below this resistance, then it's rejecting. So we got the 30-minute candle closing in about 4 minutes. And if we close above this area, I think we can continue moving bullish on your JPY. Because we broke below the support and now we're closing above this area. Technically speaking, that would make sense. You guys are so egocentric. I got here some time ago and decided to never enter this place again, and now I'm here again. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Because this is fun, man. That's why. This is fun times. Trading alone is boring. All right, let's take a look at GA over here. And welcome back, by the way. Looking at GA. TP1, 30 pip range, close 80%. Okay, oh nice, looks good. We're about to break the support. Very nice. We'll see how far it moves below the support. We're also doing these rejections over here too. 30-minute time frame is also, I see this candle is closing like a weak body candle. Weak body candle means low bullish volume. So what I'm thinking is if the next 30-minute candle creates a top wick and starts breaking below the low of this current 30-minute candle, I think the volume can really drive price down towards 151, 150. Yes. I think I may want to indulge in that. Gold, however, is showing no signs yet of breaking below 1700, so we're going to leave it as it is. Well, I'm going to leave it as it is because there's no we, right? It's crazy when I hear the Gulag music, it takes me back to the times when I was losing profits. Yeah, on Friday we bring the Gulag to the Zoom, the Gulag music. Can you take a look at my winning trade on US30? I'm in now. All right, let's take a look over here. It's pretty good on a Friday having a winning trade. Oh, nice. So you entered a buy, closed 50% right here, and candle moved up. Close 50% with 43 pip point win. Oh, nice, beautiful. Yeah, we got clean range going up towards 35, 570. Looks pretty good over here. I think at this time you can also look to see where you could have entered another position. Maybe once this candle broke the high of the previous candle, you could have said, "Oh, okay, well I guess this move down was a retracement, and now we can probably start to move back up again." So those ideas will basically help you the next time when you see these things happen, and you'll be more comfortable in adding positions. All right, we got 10 seconds left for this candle to close. What I want for the next candle to do is to actually make a top wick and then break this low so we can continue moving bearish. 22 pip range here, and really anticipating to break this low, even though that's like 8 pips away, 7 pips away. Gold is still above that area. No signs of sells yet. We'll see. I mean, if we do break below 1700, I think it's going to be a pretty nice move, but we'll see what happens. Where would you put your stop loss on GJ? I think it's going to be above this current candle, right? Because essentially what I'm looking at is this candle to respect the high of the previous candle and break this low. And the stop is going to be above this high over here. And if you do break this low, I think I'm going to execute sells and then we can continue on moving down. So we'll see what happens. Oh, your JPY is back above this area now. Let's take a look on the 4-hour candle. 4-hour candle has flipped bullish. 30 minutes moving bullish. 15 minutes is up. See, I would want to be really careful about buying at this point on your JPY because of these rejections here to the left hand side. Especially it's a Friday, so I'd want to be a little bit more risk averse and may want to see some sort of a support formed before taking a buy to continue moving up on your JPY. Oh, what's this here? We got a long comment over here. Before 2 months ago, you used to take buys based on 30 minute and would say to manage risk on 15 minute. Then you look at the 15 minute, 5 minute. Recently, I've seen you say you will manage risk if the trade candle goes back in the range and it's breaking. Is the lower time frame position management not advisable anymore? It's advisable. I think I've adapted to change. You know, I've adapted to based on what I've seen in the market, what I've experienced in the market, and that's what I've basically adapted to, right? Like, I mean, if you're taking a trade, like, let's say on your JPY, right? On your JPY, on the 15-minute time frame, if you're taking a buy over here, right? And your stop loss is below this candle, and if price comes back in the range, then from my experience, from what I've seen, traded and lost and won, if we come back in the middle of a range, then I'm basically managing my risk at that point, you know, rather than waiting for candle to close and this and that, because, you know, like, you're not expecting price to retrace all the way back in the range and then go out of the range. You're expecting it to just stay out of the range and then make a support above the range. Where can I get the simulator to rewatch? It has very refreshing and worth another watch. Oh, yeah, it's done. I'm currently running pound yen from 152 117, looking to go till 148. 152 117, going to 148, right down over here. Yeah, I think you're going to be holding for a couple days at that point, at least, maybe a couple of weeks. Yeah, 140 is way down over here. It's going to be a couple of weeks, so we're going to see what happens. All right, gold is also coming down over here. Beautiful, beautiful. I have a question when it comes to spreads and the actual price versus the price you get with the spread involved. How do you manage entering trades with the spread involved? Not sure if this is a question. Yeah, if the spread, it is what it is. You know, I mean, you just enter. Spread is the fee you pay to take a trade, basically. You know, so it is what it is. Like on your MetaTrader, you're going to see the pip count, and when that pip count goes to 10, 12, wherever you want it to go, and you just basically take profits or whatever you do at that point. But like spread is basically just, it is what it is. You can't really change it. On GJ, could you not enter a sell as the live 30-minute candle flips from bullish to bearish? No, because if this candle flips bearish at this point right over here, let me put this point right over here, right? Oh, wrong one. This one right here. If we flip bearish at 151.420, we look at the 15-minute time frame, that's still above support, right? So you can't take a sell above support. Do you usually trade Friday? No, I don't usually trade Friday. Unless something really good happens, and I see something happening 100%, then I'm going to trade Friday. Like on gold, I'm looking to trade below 1700 on gold. That's what I'm looking to trade. If that happens, happens. If it doesn't happen, it's totally fine. It's a Friday. On pound yen, I'm looking for sells as well. Maybe some sort of a resistance made for price to go down. If that happens, happens. If it moves up, whatever, that's okay. Oh wow, look at that. Your JPY is still moving up over here. Got around till 130, 150. Since the 30-minute candle broke the high of the previous candle, would that make sells invalid? Yes. Yes, exactly. Because no candles were printing in our favor. So now we're coming back in this range over here on pound yen. What was your best trade this week? This week, my best trade. That's a very interesting question. Let's take a look over here. I don't think I had a really good trade this week. I think last week I had a nice sell on gold. It was a monster sell on gold, ran for about 25 pips. I mean, monster from my perspective, someone who gets like 50, 60, that's still okay. Why does the spread go crazy sometimes? I've seen it at 20, 30 pips because when there's news events, spreads go up. Here's the thing about spreads. When there's a broker, right, and when you're trading on a brokerage, when you're trading on a brokerage and when there's a lot of volume in the market, let's say when there's news events happening, they don't want you trading in news events, right? But they know people will be trading in news events, so that's why the spreads kind of go up because there's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of uncertainty, so the spreads really widen up. So when spreads widen up, that's an undesirable condition to trade because when the spreads are up, you're paying more to take a trade and it doesn't make any sense. At the same time, when you look at the afternoon session, in afternoon, the volume is really low, there's no volatility, price is ranging, and normally spreads are up during the afternoon session, or especially when you have the rollover at 5 p.m. Eastern, spreads are really, really high because those are unfavorable ways to trade. Oh, wow, look at this. We're coming back below 1703. Beautiful, beautiful. I think if we do continue down below this low over here, could be some cowboy entries and anticipate price to break below 1700. Just an idea over there. Where can we take GJ buys? There is no we, first of all. I'm not taking GJ buys, so I think what you need to do is you need to send a chart on what you think is going to be a good idea for GJ for buys. Because this is not a signal stream, this is where you're learning, right? So please send a chart and then we can take a look at that. Oh, scenario. For GJ buys scenario, I would want to see some sort of a support formed over here, 151, 520, and then for price to go up. That's what I would want to see. But so far, I'm only worried about gold over here. We're coming back in the range. We did a fake out. Man, if you do break below this area, I think we can continue moving further down. Raja ji, candle close the wait karso. Ab pata nahi yara. Taksan on ke ho sahi tha.
What in the world?
Yeah, that's perfect. See, we're breaking below this low of this breakout candle over here. Right over here. Perfect, perfect scenario here. 1703, 1703.14. Beautiful scenario. Can really load up on sells over here and really break below 1700 today.
Power of 8 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming back.
The power of 8 a.m. We just had to be patient. That's it.
Where the stops are going to be in this perspective, stops are going to be probably around, I'd say like 1705, 1706, 25, 30 pip stop loss. And then you're really anticipating this to break down and continue down. And if you look on the 4 hour, 4 hours also flipping bearish.
Yeah. That's basically the move.
Yeah. This is where you say you risk it for the biscuit.
To see that 1700 get broken, right? It's just
when is merch coming? We're still working on that. All right, we're also coming closer to the 830, and that's when we're really going to see price moving over here. Would you wait until it clears the wicks or just impulse at the break of support? I actually closed a position right over here once we were breaking below this fake out candle at this point. Got on 12 pips, 13 pips, and the rest should continue breaking below 1700.
to be honest, it's just scary to think that we're gonna start trading below the 1700s again.
Yes. Yes.
Don't you think, Ted? This
Yeah, I mean,
massive move to the downside is crazy.
It's coming.
It's like I said earlier, the North American session just had to absorb all the information that was given last night in Biden's speech. The Asian session, they disseminated it, and so did the London session. So that pullback that we saw at 7 a.m. was exactly what I said was going to happen. Everything loading up, and then it just unloaded right now. So I think if people paid attention to that, they would have been able to capitalize on that. I know I did. So
yes.
Do you guys see gold getting down to that 1650 area at all?
Yep. You'll see probably gold get down to probably, if you look at the daily candles, I'm anticipating at least back to 1685. And next week, the way this candle's finished bearish on the weekly, I think that we should continue a little bit further down. Like I said, earlier in the week there was a lot of trap moves. It was going bullish, but it didn't make sense that it was going bullish. It was minor things. So I stayed away from the market when gold was bullish, and then I was just waiting for sells. And then last night when I saw yesterday's daily finish with a bearish close, I knew that Friday we would continue.
Yeah.
And then I took sells last night from like 1725, 24.
Oh, nice, man.
And then I closed early though, because it was Asian session and I don't really like it. But then coming back this morning, I saw the same thing. So that's why, like earlier when we were talking, I was like, it'll probably go back up to 1705, 1706, and then 8 a.m. it'll dump, and then this will be the dump probably for the rest of the day. You might find that it'll drop a little bit more now, and then it'll pull back, and then around 10 a.m., 9:30 a.m. Eastern, we'll get another dump, and that'll be the move for the rest of the day.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was even thinking about holding some of my position for Monday too, because typically when Friday moves like this, Monday will.
That's right. There'll be a continuation. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, I see 1786 being that delicate situation, or 1686, and then 1650 from there, and then who knows what happens after that.
Yeah.
Delicate situation. Yeah, yesterday Asian was pretty good. I got that breakout above 1725 to get that wick fill, and from there it just dumped.
Yeah, my entry for gold was 1704.80, just basically coming in right as the 8 a.m. session started. Just
I've noticed
sell
on
stop.
I've noticed on gold during Asian at least, kind of right around 8:30, 9 o'clock Eastern PM. There will be typically a pretty big retracement from whatever way it's been pushed in.
Yeah, 9:30 Eastern usually is the big move for Asian. If you've watched the Asian session, 9:30 we usually get a nice push. I've been capitalizing on that lately in the Asian session, and if you can hold, that'll drive you through, into the North American session at that point.
Yeah, I've been watching volume kind of on that second hour of the market open, but I'm gonna start paying attention to that time too. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
That looks like GJ is taking off.
Yeah, we are moving up here on GJ. I only took one trade, which was gold, below this breakout candle right over here. Breakout, fake out, whatever that was. Took like 12 pips, 13 pips, and that's it. I had a runner that got stopped out with this retracement.
Oh, nice. I'm up 11 pips close right now.
Yeah, so I think if people are looking for gold trades now, you'll have to wait for the new 30-minute candle to form an upper wick and then drive through to fill this current wick because it's hitting that 1700 support. But I think you'll find you'll get a continuation of a push. I don't think we'll pull back up, but just be aware that we did hit a major support at 1700, but that was the move that we were looking to do, is break through that. So you might find over the next 45 minutes or so we continue to break down, but you need confirmation. You need a rejection to the upside to push down. So essentially what happened here is we had the 8 a.m. candle that opened, which was the beginning of the North American session, which we said would drop gold, and it did. But now there's a bit of a pullback because what's happening is we're allowing the other participants into the North American session. We're allowing them into the market. So that's where you might get a wick up a bit in the next 30-minute candle or even the next hour candle, and then a continuation of the drive down. Because remember, the North American stock market has to, the New York Stock Exchange also has to absorb the information. So, that'll be another push at 9:30 Eastern, 10 a.m. Eastern, things of that nature.
Martin sells.
Essentially, you got lucky with this short. No, we called it as it moved. We discussed this earlier in the stream. So if you open the stream up, I guess about an hour ago, we spoke exactly about what was going to happen here. There was no luck involved, to be honest. It was actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I closed GJ. I don't like that 15-minute closer with no wick to the top, so we might get some retracement now.
Yeah, remember when you're taking positions on these trades, especially with gold, you have to look at the candle structure, right? So if you're not taking a sell stop like at the higher levels, you know that this candle opened, this 30-minute candle opened with no wick to the upside. So you know that it's going to push down and there's going to be a rejection and it's probably going to come back into the zone. What you're looking for now is you're essentially looking to see, like we always look for, is we're looking now to see something that comes up and then continues that push down. This candle here, to take a sell is very difficult unless you take a sell stop, which was below here, to drive back down to this support. And then what you're doing is you're putting your stop over here at that point when it pushes down, because you know you got the momentum from the North American Open. Now what you're looking at this point is you're looking at the continuation of that push, but you need structure now to set up. So this was the initial impulse, which we said was going to happen. There was going to be a drop, which we got because this is the North American Open. That was the impulsive move. So those were the first people to get to the entry, I guess, or get into the market. And then now what we're going to see is we're going to see potentially people now come back in, and you're going to get, this wick come down and then continue to drive further down. So what you have to do as a trader is you have to then turn around and look and say to yourself, okay, where are my zones, right? So we can clearly see that there's some activity here in terms of zones, right? So we can see that this area here had rejections. So this area here had rejection, this area here had rejection. So we know that this candle's in here rejecting. So what we need to see is we need to see another candle that comes up over here and then continues to reject down over here. And then, another candle will come in here and it'll reject in here. The reason why we say that is because this is a zone now that we've created, and that this area over here is already a previous zone that we've been in. So that's where, when you look at this, you have to say to yourself, okay, well, how am I going to execute now? What am I looking for? And this is where your patience comes in.
It's a Friday, and on Friday, if you take a loss, it's really easy to get over involved in the charts, and it's really easy to kind of like really fuck your shit up that you've worked hard the whole week. And don't do that on a Friday. If you miss a trade, you miss a move, take one trade, two trades, loss or a win, call it a day at that point. Actually, call it a week at that point. Let's take a look over here. Price made a low, pulled back to previous support. If resistance formed, can we look to retest the low? Yeah, you can, but I think you're missing this zone right over here now, because we're breaking above this area and we're coming into this range over here at this point. So I think we're moving bullish at this point now. So we may come down, create support, and then move back up. Oh, what's this? Cav La Flame. Already took 2 trades. Discipline is key. Learned this on the stream. Oh, nice. Let's see here. Didn't take this trade. Already took a winner. And it's Friday, but GJ buys are valid here. Let's see. Yes, they are valid. They are valid here. But I think if you're not an already buyer, I would want to see some sort of a minor support form before price goes back up at that point, because based on stops and based on candles, you just have one clean candle that went through the zone. I always close my trades early. What practices do you take to milk your pips? Well, Nasty Pips, first thing you want to do is you want to change your name from Nasty Pips to Beginner Pips. And secondly, what you want to do at that point is to, I think that's more of a confidence issue at that point if you're closing your trades too early. It's a confidence issue right there. So you may want to close like, partials and let them run and kind of like gain some confidence through that.
I think also too, if you're closing your trades early, you have to understand that you're doing what you're comfortable with at that point. I think a lot of people have this innate complication with themselves to say that they're doing something wrong if they close trades early. You're not doing anything wrong, because at the time, that was what you felt was the correct decision to make. I think we have to, as traders, stop scolding ourselves when we do something. If it was profitable, you didn't get as much profit as you thought you should. That's an incorrect way to think. I think if you're consistent and you're able to take a trade, closing a trade early, then you just didn't plan for the trade to continue to move. And at the time, you would have taken, you're happy with the results that you do have. I think a lot of people have to realize that as time progresses, you will be more comfortable with positioning and structure, and you'll want to hold trades longer. But I mean, if you're profiting, I don't really see the problem with closing a trade quote unquote early. I don't think there's a such thing as closing a trade early. I think it's your comfort level, and what you should realize is that tomorrow's another day in the trading world, and I don't think you need to be concerned about that one trade. because for every trade that you do close early, there's going to be multiple trades that come through that you don't close early. I mean, I've closed trades early all the time, and you know, it's just part of the game. You know, closing trades early prevents a bigger loss in some instances, right? Those times where you, or those times that you do close your trade early and you're like, oh man, I wish I would have held it because it went further down, or you know, it wouldn't have hit my stop and I would have won the trade. Take a look at all the times that you've done that and the trade's reversed and it's gone up, you know, 60, 70 pips, and you're like, thank God I closed, right? Like, don't crucify yourself or don't be upset with yourself because you're only remembering the negative aspects of your actions. Start to remember the positive aspects of your actions. Like, how many times have you closed a trade early and you're like, oh man, thank God I got out, right? Like, I closed my trade right now with gold. I was at 1704 and I closed it at 1702, right? And it dropped further down, but like now I'm like, oh, thank God I closed, because I would have been coming back to break even, right? I got 24 pips. I'm happy, right? Like, I can't turn around and be like, oh, it would have been nice if it continued to drop. Yeah, if it drops now, that's fine, but I got what I was happy with at that point.
What's this? Money management investment. Invest $100 and make $26,000. Invest $1,000 and make $267,000. Invest $5,000, make $1.3 million. Oh, nice. Now accepting investors. Great. Who comes up with this stuff, man? Monk Life 186. Let's take a look at this over here. Sounds legit. Monk Life 186. Shane Chin. All right. So we got a couple Lambos over there.
I was just expecting a Lambo.
We got
a
Lambos.
Golden Desert Eagle.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take a look at this over here. Yeah, it's amazing. Results are based on 40 trades and no losses. Results shown are also after 50-50 split of profits. Beautiful. Looks like a pretty nice idea over here. Yeah, invest 10,000 and make 2.6 million. Amazing, in 40 trades. Man, these are the kind of things you don't want to get into. Like, I mean, if you look at all the good traders out, good traders don't show the stuff they have, you know, I mean, cars like this. I mean, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense at all. He got called out by CoffeeZilla too, I think. Yeah, or got called the CoffeeZilla.
You know, it'd be really interesting though, if these guys that do have Lambos and supercars, if they actually talked about them in a realistic fashion. Personally, I think there would be great education for the people that are FX traders that do have these vehicles to actually talk about the cost of ownership. I think there would be an eye-opener there, and it would bring a sense of realistic expectations to owning those vehicles. I mean, there's people that are 25, 23 years old, 29 years old, or well, not 29, but like mid 20s, and they're buying brand new Lamborghinis and brand new McLarens and supercars, and I'd like to know what their insurance prices are per month on the car. That's a huge cost of ownership for insurance, especially if you're a relatively new driver with no experience. I mean, having a driver's license since I think it's only after the age of 23 or 24, your insurance starts to drop from a new driver's perspective. But I think people should talk about the actual true costs of these ownerships, and you know, does it really make sense? If you're earning say $8,000 or $7,000 a month in FX, does it make sense for you to own a supercar that's going to cost you, like, you know, maybe $1,000 or $1,200 a month in insurance? I could be wrong, but you know, the maintenance on the cars are very expensive. The insurance, I just think it would be a great educational tool for these guys that do have the vehicles to actually be, you know, not, I don't want to say honest, but just talk about the actual ownership and how much it costs. Because I know when I've quoted supercars, the insurance for me, even in my age, it's been, you know, like close to $900 a month, you know, $1,000 a month. Yeah, just, and I'm like, really? Because like my cars, the insurance on my cars are relatively cheap. They work out to be about $350 to $400 for the month for all the cars I own.
I actually can chime in on that. I've got two buddies that they kind of go through Lambos and McLarens.
Yeah.
There's special insurance for supercars. So like if you just try to go through your normal insurance, it's really high. Because I asked them the same thing. They put like 20 grand down, financed it with like a supercar type of a loan because you can spread it out farther. So their payments were like $2 grand a month for the McLaren, and their insurance was only $350 a month.
Wow, okay.
Because they specifically found someone who does supercar insurance.
Oh, okay.
So there is a way around it, but you kind of like have to know the ins and outs, or else, you do have to pay like a crazy amount for insurance.
Yeah, because I think to your point with the supercar, people buy the supercars because they don't necessarily depreciate. So what you could do is you could drive the car, or, you know, like have the car for a year or two, pay, you know, like you said, $2,000 a month, because the financing companies will finance them, knowing that they're not going to depreciate as much as a like a regular like economy car, so to speak.
Yep, that's exactly what they did. When I met them, they both had Audi R8s, like 5 or 6 years old. They bought them for $100 grand and sold them for 98 after driving them for 6 months. So they only lost $2 grand in depreciation.
That's not bad at all. That's actually pretty good.
But as long as some of these kids driving Lambos and all the stuff, having this lifestyle, some of them you don't know. Most of the people out there, they don't know their background. Most of them, they have, you know, daddy and mommy that can easily pay for those luxury cars, and people think that they're making ton of money because they're driving supercars. But after all, you know, if you have a daddy that can pay for the insurance and all the stuff, and you know.
Yeah, I think it would just be a great chat, because like I said, I'm not well versed in the supercar world. I mean, I have friends that have supercars, and I mean, we've talked about it, but you know, they've bought them outright. They have 2 or 3 of them, and they're all owned. Like they've owned them over the last say 10 or 12 years. You know, they've, like, my friends all have Ferraris as an example, like where I go play cards, because they can't fit in Lamborghinis because they're too small. So they all drive Ferraris. And we were talking about that. And like they said, they have special insurance. I mean, obviously they're older people too, so it's a little different, but it would be a great Instagram or social media discussion where people that actually own these cars actually talk about the true costs and ownerships of them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it brings a reality to owning those vehicles, and it gives people perspective, because everyone, you know, when you own your car or you drive your parents' car or whatever it is, you understand there's certain costs, but then when you move up in the price tiers, I think, you know, if people learn that, hey, it's going to cost you like maybe, you know, like a few $1,000s for an oil change, you might take a step back and be like, hey, that's probably not a good car I want to drive all the time. Like there's other cars that have, you know, maybe a little bit less performance, that aren't, you know, a few $1,000s to do an oil change, or, you know, new tires don't cost you X amount of dollars, right? So it's just something to keep in mind.
Also, don't you think they're looking at it more or less of, I'm just thinking the people who post it all the time, they're looking at it like marketing, right?
Oh, yeah, well, 100% it's marketing. Yeah, we know that. But what I was saying is,
okay,
you know, I think from a marketing standpoint, if you are a marketer and you're using your car as a marketing tool, I mean, why not talk about the actual the ownership costs? And I mean, most people, if they are using it as a marketing tool, probably have it incorporated in a business, so they can talk about, hey, if you have a business, put the car in the business name, and you can, you know, write off part of that expense, right? Because you are using it as your marketing tool. Like, I just think there's ways that people could talk about these vehicles and actually give a real good value and a good lesson to them, and it would legitimize the reason why they have those cars.
I think that's a great idea.
and it's not a bad thing. Like I've always told people, it's never a bad thing to talk about, how you're able to obtain these cars and sort of the cost of ownership. I think it's just enlightening for people that are looking to get those vehicles. Like, hey, what do I have to work for? And it might also, not say it in a bad way, but it might dissuade you from saying, hey, maybe I don't need to spend like $6,000 or $3,000 a month on a car, because I don't see myself having that, like all the restrictions in terms of mileage, the upkeep, the maintenance. That's not what I want to do. Maybe I'll just grab like, I don't know, like a Porsche or an Audi, and have a little bit less upkeep, but similar performance, right? So I mean, it's just, I just really think I'd like to see people talk about that. I mean, people ask me about ownership of a Tesla and my Porsche and my Audi, and it's like, they're nothing. Like it's very minimal. Like Tesla has no maintenance. The car itself is paid off, so I don't worry about that. But like, it doesn't cost me anything to charge. It doesn't cost me anything. The only thing I've done is replace the tires on the car because they're 21-inch, so they burn the rubber quick. Because there's less sidewall, so they get damaged faster. But other than that, those tires cost about $400 a piece. $400 Canadian a piece, and I've replaced them. I've gone through 2 sets now, so it's cost me about $3,200 in tires, and I just got another set. I just ordered another set last week for them for the summer.
Yeah, the car I got, I did a calculation just now. That's going to cost me $20,000 a year on just expenses. It's $800 a month times 12, $9,600. Gas, you're looking at around $7,500 a year. Insurance, you're looking at $350 a month times 12, and then general wear and tear, you're looking at around $2,000. So around like $21,000, $22,000 a month. But yeah, you're right. Supercars would cost way more than that. And I think it's easy to get one, but then once you finally realize the cost it is to upkeep it and to run it for the whole year, you start to have like second guesses. Yeah, was this a good idea, or was this a decision made in haste?
Yeah.
Did you get the extended warranty on your Dodge, Raja?
No.
No?
No.
Are you gonna have these people calling you?
No, I told them they tried to put me on it, and then I was like, nope, I don't want to see this on this at all. I don't want to see it there at all. So they removed it.
How many miles are you had on warranty?
I think it's 60,000 kilometers.
Okay.
Yeah, miles, I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
About 40,000.
40,000
miles.
40,000.
It's like 1.6 miles or 1.6 kilometers for every mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually either a time frame or miles. So whatever gets there quicker.
Yeah, it's 3 years or 60,000.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it's bumper to bumper, so you're good. In my case, they try to charge me at least like $700 per oil change, so I just do it myself. Literally just buy an oil filter, 5 quarts of oil, and save $600.
Yeah, I did service packages with my cars, so it saves you 25% over like I think it's 3 years. So if you buy it up front, so you don't have to pay. But yeah, it is expensive. Like when I didn't realize that, because like not having a gas car for a while, and then when I have gas cars now, I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah,
like the Audi, it guzzles gas. Like it just eats gas like no tomorrow. You fill it up and like 2 days later it's empty. I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah, that's how it is, man.
I feel you.
That's what a gas car is.
Man's been driving a Tesla for so long.
I know.
Forgot about the gas.
Yeah, it's like $75 every time I fill up. It's $75.
I forgot about gas stations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember like CPO, which is certified pre-owned on BMW. They do give you a warranty even if the car is used for up to 50,000 miles. So when I had a BMW, like I didn't have to pay any maintenance. And when I got the Audi, I thought it was gonna be the same, but nope. The first time free, the second time $700. I'm like, nah.
All right, we got 20 minutes left here for this 4-hour candle to close. USD CAD dumped down, came back in the range. Gold basically did a little guzzler move below 1700. It is what it is, kind of like struggling over here. All right, we got 20 minutes left here for this 4-hour candle to close. Oh, all right. Pound yen is still back up in this range over here. I'm looking at this 30-minute candle to flip bearish to take sells down to wick fill. I think it's going to be better to call it a day over here, or maybe wait for price to kind of like break below 1700 now to continue down, because we had a huge rejection here on gold.
Yeah, even 1704, waiting for it to break below 1704 back into that range, because at least then you know you have a little bit more confirmation that we are dropping still. I still think that we'll drop at 930 again. I think this move isn't done. You had a push up with USD CAD the push up with USD CAD did affect gold prices. So you did have a bit of a push with gold because obviously the US dollar lost strength, so gold moved up a bit. So keep that in mind. But I think if you get below 1704, we'll get back down into 1700s again. But manage your risk.
If I may ask, Ted, it's not a really important question, but if it's open to the public, what Audi do you own?
Oh, I have an RS5.
Oh, nice. The new one or the
the new one? Yeah.
The 2020.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. My friend has it, and it's raised to like 800 horsepower, so it sounds.
Ooh, 800.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I have a video somewhere, but it's really amazing.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's just temporary right now. I just picked it up on a whim. It was more of an impulse purchase, and now I'll be getting rid of it anyways because I'm gonna have another Tesla. So, but the Plaid Tesla, the Plaid Plus, but it's not. It's been delayed again till 2022. Originally, it was supposed to come out. Yeah, originally it was supposed to come out later this year. The Plaid Plus, because the Plaid is coming out, or the Plaid has started to roll out right now, but the Plaid Plus now has been delayed till 2022. So now I'm stuck with this car for a little bit longer.
I'm going to drive today the Model 3 Performance, but it's rainy, so it won't be that fun, but still, it will be interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for your answer.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Damn, this thing is.
Hey, Ted.
Yeah.
I can't wait to say that I bought a car on an impulse purchase.
Oh, well, no, I was just tired of like not having one, so like I just went out and just grabbed one, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Hey, I'm looking at GU, and I can see on the monthly it hit the monthly high. That's on the 1.42. So it has a range from the 1.42 to the 1.214. So I'm thinking maybe in the future it's good to be looking for sales on the GU because it's already hit the highest area.
Are you talking to us or?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, you didn't say hi or anything. You just kept on going. I'm like, is he talking to us or what's going on over here?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you need to break it down on the daily time frames here as well. And you got a support down at 1.338 right over here. And if we break below this area, then you can look at sells for price to continue down.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, no problem. Because if you're looking at the monthly to go down, then you're looking at the market structure on the daily or the weekly to kind of like break below and continue. Yeah, man, this thing is pretty fast. Tesla plate plus 2.1, 0 to 100. Damn, it's crazy. 837.
Yeah, I was looking more of the range because the range is so wide now with the car, so it's really good.
And what is about the Roadster? Or that is different one you told?
That's the reason why I was originally getting the Roadster was because it had the same performance as the Plaid Plus, but now the Plaid Plus is coming out. You don't really need the Roadster. The sedan does the same basic performance as the Roadster, but I think it's minus like 200 kilometers in range. I think the Roadster does like 1,000 kilometers, but then now Elon's saying that the Roadster will be faster than Plaid Plus. So I don't know. I mean, like he's too busy with cryptocurrency to actually get these cars out. I mean, it's like I mean, my Tesla stocks took a hit. Like like Jesus, everything's taking a hit because of this guy.
You're like, hey buddy, like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Get your head in the game.
Yeah. Seriously, like earlier in the year, it was like, yeah, he's doing great things for us, but now it's like everything's tanking, and it's like, dude, now you tell me my car is being delayed. Like, come on.
Yeah, Ted, not to cut y'all off, but the reason why Tesla's having issues, especially the reason why they slowed down that one assembly line in California, is the same issue that Ford and GM and them are having of a certain chip. It's like a certain chip that got back ordered because of the Corona stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
So that's part of the rumor of why that was. I read it like 2 weeks ago. They had a little document about it. But
Yeah,
they don't want to come out. They don't want to come out and say that, because if they say that, then there's going to be a big hype for everybody to try to make those chips.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, because they're also too, like I also was reading with Tesla, they're opening up a Model 2. There's going to be a new model that's going to come out even cheaper than the Model 3. So they're starting to do development on that. And then there's a huge demand for the Model 3 in China. So it's just, I think he's prioritizing things. And obviously with SpaceX and stuff like that, like they're probably stretched again. It's the usual with Tesla.
And the tunnels, don't forget the tunnels.
Yeah.
Oh, they stretch big time. They're also going really heavy with that thing called, what's that internet thing? Starlink.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Starlink. They're going pretty heavy with that too. And I think with that, they will create this entire huge network of like Tesla with Starlink, and everything's just going to be interconnected with them.
And then we could be able to hack the cars and make people crash.
Yeah, I'm going to run my gas car as long as I can.
I don't know if someone heard, but with this new IoT stuff and fridges and I don't know, all of the IoT, everyone knows what does that mean, but the hackers now are like hacking the IoT and they're turning on and off lights in your house, turning on the fridge, so it won't be anything, I don't know, new with the cars. It will be this all future.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to take a drop.
Gold is about to drop.
Yeah, ladies and
gentlemen. To follow up on that chip thing, there was news on March 2nd. They were talking about the Chinese Tesla rival NIO chip shortage, but then they also said in February that there's a global chip shortage that catches up to Tesla and the battery cells as well.
Okay.
If you search on Google Tesla car shortage of chips, you'll see plenty of docs on it. Yeah, because this was actually partial reason why Ford stock jumped up 2 weeks ago, because they were gonna make a deal with the U.S. government for to make batteries because of that the thing that happened in Texas with everybody being out of power.
I'll be buying the batteries right now with the money from gold.
Lithium batteries.
Yeah. We're heading downtown.
Yeah, so if people saw what we talked about below 1704, you should be good now. This is where, now if you took a trade below 1704, you'd be looking at your 5-minute time frame and you'd see that you're in your first 5-minute candle. So it's hard for you to put a stop. But what you would do is you'd look to the left and say, okay, there's the 5-minute candle to the left is pretty clean to drop. So we should continue probably to about 1701. But if I'm comfortable with this, I just took 20 pips. I can close this trade right now and be done. But if I'm looking to now secure profits, I would start securing them above this current 5-minute candle. I would just move my stop a little bit above the 5-minute candle, and I would let this now move down to 1701 if it does drop. But you can see the range that we dropped back into, which was the 30-minute candle flipping at 8:30 Eastern.
I got a entry at 1704.61.
Yeah, that was my. I had 1704.22 as a range to go to 1701.41. So
this point is, yeah, at this point, I'm sorry to cut you off, but at this point it's really good because the last 15 minutes it's gonna drop this price towards support. If we break that support, man, it's already gone. So to the 17
there you go.
1695.
There you go. So it's dropped back into 1701. So here's where now you could take profits because you're coming back down to that support region again, or move your stop loss to above break even and then let this run a little bit more.
And to be honest, if we get to that support with this hourly candle, it's gonna break it.
Yeah. So for people that got in the second run with gold, congratulations. Like I said, this was earlier that we were talking about the second wave where you had to wait for the other participants to come into the market to drive the market. And this is now your second wave, and you can see on your 30-minute candle you have a rejection around 1707, but that's now where your prices have been going to drive back into this range. But once again, keep in mind 1699, 1700. You also have to make a decision there, right? Because it's a support and we haven't broken that support. So if you're 20 or 30 pips in profit, you may say to yourself, hey, this is a good trade. It took me 5 minutes, or like whatever the time frame, it's time to leave, right? This is where you have to understand, like, you can't choose both sides. You can't say, well, I wanted to drop to 1680 today and then get mad when it pulls all the way back up to your entry. You have to make a choice and you have to live with that choice.
Yeah, I just closed 40 pips. Not one.
Because you can see at 1701.40, there's a whole bunch of rejection wicks. So you know that that's an area of interest. So you could close there and say, hey, okay, I'm done now.
Sorry for interrupting, but GJ really looks good.
Yep.
Like if we break 380, clean sells.
All right, whoever secured on these sells on gold, very good, very good. Basically, Ted and Kervin commented as it continued down, broke the lows over here below 1704. I mean, it's pretty good.
And now it pulled all the way back up.
Yeah, I got in at 1703. Closed 40 pips quick.
Yeah. But this is the thing. People have to get used to, if you're trading gold moves very fast, and one 5-minute candle could be your move. So don't get greedy with the idea, because 40 pips or 30 pips on a trade is a lot of movement, especially for a volatile pair like that. So take it, because you can capitalize on that and come in for 5 minutes or 15 minutes on a chart, take your 30 or 40 pips and then call it a day. Like, you don't need to sit and wait for a 4-hour candle close, an hour candle close. You can grab one very quick as you get more comfortable with the way gold moves and the structure of gold. Because 1701 was a huge support that we hit several times on the 30-minute time frame. So in my mind, it's like, okay, once we get there, I have to make a decision. I'm either closing or I'm risking it going back up to my original entry, and that's all in a 5-minute candle.
Yeah, I meant 40 pips combined, not 40 pips,
But it was a 40 pip drop though.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is the reason you don't stick around with gold. Damn.
No. It's true. Nobody
Man,
should have lost on that trade. You should have already secured your stop loss, and you should have already made a decision. No one should have lost a trade if they sold at 1704. Nobody should have lost any money. But what happens is people get greedy, right? They look at it and they're like, "Oh, I can go down to 1690 now," and it's like, does it make sense? Maybe, but you always want to make sure you don't take a loss, especially when you're 20, 30 pips deep in gold.
Yeah, like I mean, we've seen these all the time. Like, of course, we need supports to break, 1700 to break, but at the same time, we can't really ignore the fact that, okay, if we're up like 20 pips, 30 pips, 40 pips, just secure it. And if it breaks, it breaks. If it doesn't, then you can say, well, it's gold, you know, it just comes right back up.
Yeah, yesterday, the same thing happened to me. I was looking for the 1 hour wick fill above 1725. It got to that zone, and it just rejected, and since then it just dumped.
Yeah,
we just have to get you just have to get out of the idea that every move that you're going to take with a trade is going to be 100 pips or 200 pips. Just get out of that mindset and just aim for your 10 to 30 pips or 10 to 15 pips. And if it runs a little bit longer, great, it adds to your totals, but you then don't have this idea that you're not doing good enough. It's like if you're looking to to go to the gym, don't try and lift weights that you can't lift. That's not fun. You're not going to be motivated to go to the gym if you go to the gym and say, I'm going to do an hour of cardio when you know you can only do 15 minutes. Do 10 minutes of cardio and then feel good about yourself, and then next week do 15 minutes and then be like, hey, I accomplished my goal. It's the same thing with trading. Don't try and kill your account by saying, okay, today I'm going to try and do 30%. It's like, hey, do 5% and feel good about yourself, and then work your way up to like, okay, today I did a little bit more, yesterday, the next day I do a little bit more. Don't set such high targets for yourself. Set low targets so that when you meet them, it makes you feel good and you want to come back and do more.
Goals for Monday to Friday are to be profitable, period. Start of building confidence and leave with confidence. Yes, that's absolutely true. But like, to be honest, I'm gonna leave over here. We got about like 3 minutes left for this candle to close. I'm gonna call it a day. I think it was a pretty good day. Had little sells over here and then more sells as we broke below, thanks to Ted and Kervin. But for pound yen, the way the 30-minute candle is closing, we're rejecting this level. Really high probability for it to continue bearish. Looking at the 1 hour time frame here as well, we're closing bearish. Next 4 hour candle is closing bearish, so we can expect the next one to kind of like wick up and then to continue down to fill this wick over here. And good luck to all those who are trying to get this GJ sells, but just don't overtrade today. That's it. Just don't overtrade. Don't fuck your shit up. All like the work you've done the whole week, don't let one day screw everything over.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So with that, I'm gonna head off. Take care,
you.
everybody.
Joy.
My friend.
Thank you.
Ciao, Raja.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bom fim de semana.
Ciao, Momo.
Até mais.
I don't know what that
Gracias.
means. All right, take care, everybody. Have fun. We'll see you guys.
Sweden represent.
Cadê o
Monday
Brasil?
morning.
Aqui o Brasil!
Brasil!